Hey guys, what's up? Just going to make you another video today. This one's going to be a little bit different than all of them. You saw the last one, that was kind of a spoof on gecko breeding. This one is actually going to be a little bit more serious, and it's going to be about breeding. But before you start putting males and females together, and before you start learning all the genetics and stuff like that, there's a few things that you really need to know. Those things are... not everybody should be just putting geckos together and breeding them. Like, it's one of those things that if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. What I do here has taken me years and years and years and years to learn. And it's not just, oh, this gecko looks cool, let's put it with this gecko. It's not about that. Like, you really have to know your genetics, you have to know basic breeding of these animals, incubation, how to raise them, how to take care of them, and then that's not even touching on the selling part of them. You have to be able to find homes for every single gecko that you produce, or you are going to be overloaded with them. Your husbandry is going to go down because you have so many of them, and then where are the animals at that point? You really need to know everything about this before you start doing it, because this isn't for everybody. A lot of people think, oh, this will only take a couple hours a day, no big deal, like I can handle it. Let me tell you something. I really don't go on a lot of vacations because of this right here. It, definitely will anger my wife at some points that I can't really leave this place for, 2 weeks or something like that. The animals need to be taken care of. This is a job as well. It's not just a hobby. I mean, if once you have this many, whenever you start breeding on the level that I'm breeding at, at any given time, there's probably 400 animals up to 1,000 animals here. So you really have to put them ahead of pretty much everything. Of course, my wife and my child will come first, but this is a lifestyle. You really have to dedicate yourself to doing this. And it's not just about the cleaning and stuff like that. It's about knowing more about everything. I'll be the first to admit to you that I don't know everything, but I will do my best to learn everything that's possible. From every single person that I can talk to, breeders, stuff like that. I probably know more than most, but I'm still always learning. You have to, go online and learn more from your peers. You have to talk to your peers. One of the biggest things that gets kind of looked over in this hobby is friendships with other breeders, just to see what they're doing, compare notes, stuff like that. And it's hard sometimes because some breeders, they really don't like each other. I know of a couple that don't like me, and I don't like a couple of them. Is it silly? Yeah, it's silly. Is it childish? Yeah, it is. A little bit of high schoolish. But that doesn't mean that, I don't, that I push them totally out and don't know what's going on with them as well. It's pretty simple to know what's going on with everybody else and stuff like that just from other people. Sometimes it's hearsay, sometimes, But it's one of those things that, as a hobby, I think the bigger breeders need to come together, talk a little bit more, compare notes, stuff like that, just to better improve everything. But like I said, that doesn't always happen just because of, there's always money issues, who's selling something for what, people get mad at other things. Some stuff's really simple and kind of like weird. I know that I got mad, a little bit upset with the renaming of some of the stuff that I produced. It was kind of like, really? But that's another topic as well, the naming of stuff. So I don't want to get into that too heavy. But I want to get back to breeding of leopard geckos and breeding ethics and stuff like that. Probably a lot of the people that are seeing this know that there's 3 strains of albino and we don't cross those together, and there's little rules like that that we don't want to do. For those of you who don't know, there are 3 strains of albinos. There's the Tremper albino, which Mr. Ron Tremper basically released that one. Ron Tremper's from Texas, so sometimes it's called the Texas strain, but they usually don't call it the Texas strain. They usually just call it a Tremper albino. He's kind of like the godfather of leopard geckos. If you have a leopard gecko, you've probably heard of Ron. The next strain is the Bell albino. The Bell albino was produced by Mark and Kim Bell out of Florida. Their facility is Reptile Industries. They are a huge facility. They usually supply, like the Petco's, PetSmarts type of thing. They breed thousands of leopard geckos a year. I mean, thousands. It's quite a crazy thing that they do. I mean, they'll hatch out 1,000 leopard geckos a week. I mean, it's a big facility, and that's not all they do. I mean, they do snakes, they do turtles, tortoises. Their facility is definitely state of the art, and it's a huge, huge facility. But they're the ones that produce the Bell albinos. The person that's done the most work with the Bell albinos is Kelly Hammock from Hiss. Definitely have to give her a shout out, and she's the one that pretty much put the Bell albino on the map. She's done amazing work with bells, and she's been a great contribution to the Bell albino. The next albino that I want to touch on is the Rainwater albino, or the Las Vegas, as it's also called. I guess that whenever it was first released, people got mad at the guy, and that's why they started calling it a Las Vegas instead of using the guy's name. But I still call it a Rainwater. But I mean, either way, it's most people know what you're talking about. They're not 2 different things. They're the same type of albino. Rainwater and Las Vegas are the same thing. It's just what you like to call them, if you will. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Typhoon is named the Typhoon, just because rainwater and typhoon, it's a play on words. But anyway, those are the 3 strains of albino. You never want to cross them, and if you don't know if your animal's het for one or the other, you shouldn't cross those either. So you really have to know the genetics behind every single animal that you produce. Back to the Rainwater stuff. The guys that really put that stuff on the map are Dan the Fireman, that he no longer breeds them, which we miss you, Dan, and Jeremy Letke. He's the other one that did very, very good work with the Rainwaters, and unfortunately he doesn't breed anymore either. So it kind of fell off a little bit. It's starting to make a comeback, the Rainwaters. Hopefully we'll see some really, really awesome Rainwaters here soon. There's probably 3 or 4 different breeders that are really concentrating on Rainwaters. So that's a really good thing for the Rainwaters. We don't want any of these morphs to ever get lost due to nobody producing them anymore. Stuff that might get lost eventually is like the pure patternless. I mean, everybody crossed it into everything else, so you can't find pure ones anymore. My friend Marsha McGinnis at Golden Gate Geckos, she still breeds for pure patty, which is very, very rare. I actually got some of those off of her and hope to continue her line a little bit so that we have pure patties in the future. The pure blizzards as well. She's another one that's known for those as well. Probably the only person in the country that actually still has a pure line of blizzards, because all the rest of them are crossed to this and that. And I'll get into all the genetics behind everything at some point. I'll try to do not breeding videos, but genetic videos before the breeding videos, so that you guys know what genetics to mix, what causes different things to happen. Pretty much you got to learn everything so that you can create what you want if you have the time and energy to do it. Other things that I wanted to touch on as far as breeding goes. I mean, the biggest thing is you have to know the genetics behind every single animal in your collection. Every single one of them. You better make sure that you know if it's possible het for this, possible het for that. And that starts with where you're getting your animals from. I mean, if you don't know what the parents of the animal were that you're getting your animals from. I mean, that could be really, really bad. A lot of the animals that I have here in my collection, I can go back probably 3, 4, sometimes 5 generations and show you the parents of them. Especially like my Marble Eye project, I have animals from that go back probably, I'd say 5 generations at least. So I mean, it's basically mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, all that stuff. I can show you the lineage, if you will, which is pretty crazy that that you can go back that many generations and see what is going on with it. Even animals that I don't have their parents, but they're projects that I'm working on, I know where they came from and what's in them and what's involved in them. I actually have some electric line animals here. I know where the electric line came from. It came from Kelly from Hiss. That's the originator of it. I know that the original name giver, if you will, to the line was her Electra female. I know that her Electra female, the mother, was Roxy. Roxy is a quarter of Albi, 3/4 Neves line, Tangerine. So, I mean, I can go back, and that was in 2000 that animal was born. So you have to be able to go back in time and know what the heck you're dealing with. I'm starting to run out of breath here from my rambling. Especially with tangerine lines. I mean, it seems like everybody has their own line of tangerines these days. Well, they all come from something. I mean, where did those, what animals did they use to cross it? A lot of tangerine animals came from Albi. It's just one of those things. I mean, he's got the best tangerines in the world. Hands down, like, everybody has used Albi tangerines in their line somewhere along the line to get the look that they desire. And it's just, it's just one of those things. Everybody's tangerines that are really, really nice, they have Albi line in them. It's just the way it is. I mean, he line bred those things for years. I'm talking like probably at least 10, maybe 15. I mean, he's definitely done the most work on them, and if anything, Tangerine should just be called Albi. You know what I mean? Because he has done that much work on them. I mean, other things. I mean, I have geckos in my collection from pretty much every major breeder, some minor breeders in the country, in the U.S. Some stuff's even from Europe. I don't have a lot of stuff from Europe. Usually it's just the subspecies and stuff like that. But a lot of my lines come from different breeders in the U.S. I mean, I've got some like Bell Sunglow stuff from Paul Allen. I've of course got Tremper stuff just because everybody has Tremper stuff in their lines. Who else do I have? I got stuff from Garrick de Meyer. I've got stuff from Steve Sykes. I've got stuff from the Urban Gecko from Craig Stewart. Actually, I have his snow line, which I'm doing some crosses with the snow line, checking to see, how it works. Like, not how it works, but what it does, let's say. What else do I got? Gotta like look at my mail wall to see where a lot of this stuff has come from. I have stuff from my friend Mike Rakowski from Florida. I've got stuff from JMG. I have their lavender stripe stuff. I mean, there's so many different things that I have that came from other people, but I want to make sure of what those are. I mean, the pure patties and blizzards from Marsha, I've already touched on that, I think. Got the funky jungle stuff from Mike Eklund. It's basically every genetic that I can get my hands on. I want to know where it came from, how it works, all that stuff. So I know where a lot of this stuff has come from. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I have to preach to you guys. You have to know what is in every single animal and what would make the best combination for breeding, that you're not ethically doing something wrong. Another thing that you don't really want to do is cross all the different snow lines. I mean, I've seen people that are selling like mac snow crossed a tug snow. Like, that defeats the purpose of having the different lines of snow. That should almost be looked upon as crossing the different strains of albino. Because, I mean, you cross a mac snow and a tug snow and you get supers, like, how do you ever, with the babies, say that it's a tug snow again? I mean, you might as well just consider that a mac snow and just be done with it, because it's a super at that point. And that's some of the stuff that I'm working on. I'm going to try crossing tug to tug and make sure that there's no super involved. If there is a super involved, then it's not its own line of snow. It's that simple. Same thing with the gem snow. I mean, it's kind of, it's not productive to breed a gem snow to a tug snow. Like, why would you do it unless you're seeing if they really are different lines of snow, or if they can make a super, or what you're doing. But at the same time, those animals have to be sold for what they are. So it's one of those things that you got to really know the genetics behind everything, how it works, and then at the same time, if you are selling these animals, or even if you're giving them away, you have got to make sure that the buyers understand what is behind them. Because if not, that's how you get these mumble-jumbled messes that cause muddiness in the water, if you will. The other thing that kind of sucks, that messed up a lot of people's lines, is the enigma. Not just the neurological thing where they get like a vestibular and they get all crazy and head tilting and stargazing and acting retarded, if you will. It's not just that, which a lot of people didn't understand that either. Whenever the enigmas first came out, they were just released. Nobody knew what they were het for, anything like that. I've come to find out that they thought that the red-eyed ones were the super form, so they were breeding them to trempers and stuff like that. So the strains of albino actually got mixed up. I have actually went through and my whole collection, and if there was a sibling to an enigma, because I don't really work with enigmas anymore, if there was a sibling to an enigma that I had in my collection, I actually got rid of all of them, because I didn't want the possibility even of a mixing up of the albino strains. I literally got rid of all of them, and had to start from scratch, and that kind of sucked. But I wanted to make sure for myself, selling these things and knowing what I knew, I didn't want any mixed up later. I didn't want somebody freaking buying a bell off me and producing trempers. That's an easy way to just pretty much kill yourself. So I literally went through everything and hit the reset button, basically. That's why I've been kind of taking so long to produce stuff these days, just because I basically started back from scratch again and went back to stuff that I had before enigmas and started from there. So literally, if enigma was ever in their background, they were pieced out. It's one of those things that it sucked to do it, but I had to do it, because I wanted to make sure of the exact genetics of every animal that I produce and sell. And it's just something that I thought was ethically important to do. Another thing, subspecies. From what I know, all the subspecies that I have are correct. I mean, you can't really do genetic testing or anything like that. There's really no easy way to do scale counts. I got all of my subspecies stuff. It all originated in Europe. Europe is very, very big on purity and the wild types, if you will. So all I can do is trust them. I've got all the subspecies that I got from people that I trusted in the industry, to give me exactly what it is. And actually my Montanus and my Afghanicus, they actually came from snake breeders, that his wife actually wanted some leopard geckos, so he ended up getting pure subspecies leopard geckos for her, and that's where my original Afghanicus and Montanus actually came from, was from this guy. So I doubt that anything was crossed into anything or anything like that, because he was a snake breeder. So if I hatch out some corn snake looking leopard geckos, I'll know that he crossed it into some corn snakes, but that's it. He didn't have any other leopard geckos, so I'm pretty sure that that stuff's all very, very pure. The Hardwicki, I mean, they just look totally different. They have to be they have to be pure. Plus, I got them from one of the most well-respected people in the gecko industry themselves, and whenever he looked at them and said, "Holy crap," then you know that that's what they are. I mean, it's he's definitely got the biggest collection of different species of gecko in the world, easily, hands down. He's also bred the most different species in the world, I think, other than Mother Nature herself. So I have pretty good faith in what they are. Other stuff that I wanted to touch on, well, kind of touched on the 4 strains of snow. There's the Mac Snow that has the super, that was produced by John Mack originally, and then that kind of, you know, everybody else started with those. We've got the Urban Gecko Snow, which I have, doing some testing on that, make sure, you know, it is what it is, and that's why I haven't really released any of those yet, just because I wanted to make sure that my line didn't have like some Max Snow mixed in it or anything like that. The Gem Snow, which I've done some crosses with that as well. It's definitely very, very, it's a different snow. Like, you can definitely tell like a little bit of a difference with it. And then there's the Linebred Snows from Albi. I actually don't have any Linebred Snows from Albi. I was looking into them, but something else came up that I wanted to get, so I put that on hold for right now. And I'll probably be getting some of those in the future. But the Albi Line Snow, since they're line bred, it doesn't produce any supers or anything like that. I would think that once you outcross it, you'll lose some of it, the Snow White, just because it is line bred. Just like his tangerines, anything line bred from Albi, you know it's going to be top quality, and he's been working on them for years. It was kind of sad, actually, whenever the Max Snow came out, because he was doing so much work on the line-bred snows that he actually put the line-bred snow on the back burner for a little bit, because all of a sudden there's this, you know, new mutation that pops out that basically on one shot people can get what he took years to make. So he kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit. Now I think the line-bred snows are making a little bit more of a comeback, because, I mean, people want them now because they're, you know, line bred. Line bred stuff always keeps its value a little bit more than genetic dominant recessive codominant stuff, just because it's harder to do. Just like like tangerines. Tangerines, better quality tangerines, are going to sell for more money. I mean, you can always get, you know, B, C, D quality stuff for cheap. But that top of the line stuff, I mean, it's going to be pretty expensive probably. And it's just because it's taken years of line breeding to do it. Whether it be somebody's line that they just kind of put 2 other lines together, or it's, you know, like Albi's line that he's been working on for years. It's definitely one of those things that, you know, it takes time to produce good ones. The other thing that you want to really do is know your history about leopard geckos. I mean, it's not that hard to look on the internet and learn the history of stuff. I mean, probably half the people that are going to watch this, they don't even know who Ray Hine is. And he was one of the big reasons why leopard geckos even became big. He's almost like the Ron Tremper of Europe, almost. He is the reason that we have carrot tail animals right now. Ray Hine line carrot tails were one of the first line bred traits that we could breed for, and they were awesome. I have some of that stuff in my collection as well. But you gotta know your history on stuff, like where the albinos came from, where the snows came from. Know different people that helped in the industry, like they're no longer in the industry, like Dan the fireman and Jeremy Leckie. Like you guys have to know these people. Like there's no way around it. You got to know your history. Even my friend Alberto, probably half the people don't even know who Alberto is now. Which, I mean, he is one of the people that's made a lot of the genetic combinations, and he taught me everything that I know. And he's the reason behind, this collection right here. It's kind of sad that we stopped breeding for the jungle giants that he had. I mean, those things were freaking amazing. But it was one of those things that we saw, opportunities with other avenues, and we just kind of stopped breeding them because other things were more popular. And it kind of sucks that they're pretty much gone now. You can't typically get like the quality of jungle giant like we used to produce. I mean, it kind of sucks. I'm gonna try to get that line back started, but it's probably gonna take a little while. Just because it was one of those Linebred things that it took a little bit of work, and it's gone. But there are a couple breeders that are in Europe actually that are trying to reproduce it a little bit as well. So that's always promising as well. I think that's the biggest thing with breeders that they've got to do is the ethical part of it. We can't push these older morphs aside and say, oh, we don't need you because we have all these cool ones over here. The old school stuff, it all kind of revolves back to it. If there's new stuff that pops out, you want that old school stuff to breed into it. So you want to keep a lot of that old school stuff pure. Just like the subspecies stuff. You want to keep a line of subspecies that are pure. I actually cross, I have a pure line of subspecies that I always produce pretty much every year. Sometimes what I'll do though is every other year I produce the pure stuff, and then every other, like the middle years I produce the crosses. That way it's, I don't get them mixed up, one, and two, usually the stuff that I produce in that one year will carry me over to the other years. So it's cool to see what the subspecies do whenever they're crossed with other things, but you want to have that line of pure subspecies there as well, because if something pops up and you need to prove it out, those are the best thing to prove it out with. Like the marble eye stuff, they were all het for Tremper whenever they first got produced. Well, they were all Tremper whenever they first got produced, I should say. And I wanted to clean it up. You need the subspecies to take the albino out. It's kind of like reverse engineering, which actually reverse engineering is harder than than it would be to put the Tremper into it. So it's going to take a little while. It's not as simple as, oh, just breed a subspecies to it and you'll have a cleaned up version. You don't have a cleaned up version yet. Everything's still het Tremper. So you have to literally breed the het Trempers to het Trempers and then produce the animals that are going to be like the 66% het Trempers and prove all those ones out. And then you got to, outcross it again, but you still don't want to lose the marble eye. So it takes a long time to do it. It's actually easier to put genetics together than it is to take them apart. So you really have to be careful about what you're using to breed it to. The other thing with the marble eye, I don't cross it to anything with stripes, because I have found out through the years of breeding that stripe to reverse stripe, patternless stripe, eye pigmentation. That's a different eye pigmentation. I don't want that. That's why you will not see any striped marble eye stuff from me for quite a while. Because I am going to make sure that any striped animal that I breed it to has no other eye pigmentation to it at all. If I even try to produce the striped marble eyes and stuff like that. It's just one of those things that I do not want to cross them. Because crossing them is just like crossing the different strains of albino. You don't want to do it. That simple. I mean, even back to my pure Eclipse line that I have. Like, I freaking bred that thing for 3 years and hatched out hundreds of babies before I was completely convinced that there was no albino in the male that I used to create my line of radars and my line of typhoons, or the typhoon line, if you will. It's just one of those things. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't mixed. So if you're watching this and you want to breed geckos and stuff like that, there's a heck of a lot more to it than just male and female. And let's see them mate. The video that I made with the chocolates and flowers and Marvin Gaye and scented candles and shit like that. Like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to swear. That was fake, guys. It was fake. Yes, the two animals bred, but there was a reason why the two animals bred. It's because she was ovulating, and he was ready to go. It wasn't, and I mean, I knew which animals I was putting together too. It wasn't just a, hey, this one's ovulating, let's throw a spot to her. What these guys will produce is, hopefully, white and yellow eclipses that are pure, actually, because the female is 50% het trapper, but still, I won't know if they are pure or not. So what I will sell them as is 50% het trampers, just because there is that slight possibility that there is tramper involved. So it's just one of those things that you got to know what you're doing, what's behind all your animals, and you got to go from there. I think this video is probably super, super long, and it's probably going to take me 3 days to freaking download it. So I'm going to stop it here, and I will make a part 2 so that you guys can have it broken up a little bit, because I know you guys have a lot to do, and you don't need to be watching me for freaking half an hour, which is about what we're going at right now. So stay tuned for part 2. We'll see you guys.